Boom, sitting between a box of Old El Paso Super Stuffer extra large taco shells and Campbell's chunky creamy chicken dumpling soup. I picked the worst two things to open with. Two mouthfuls. Two things I don't even want a mouthful of.
No one would want to eat those ever.
It's another episode of In the Aisle live from West Bank Gourmet in New York City. I'm Dan. That's Jack.
Hi.
And we have a guest. Hi, Mike Cannon. How
Hey,
are
man.
you?
I'm great.
Mike
Sitting next
Cannon's
to some
our
chunky
guest.
peanut butter.
Yeah, right. What's better than
And
that?
that's
We
just
give you
me.
prime seating.
Yeah, there is a slight chance I might open one of these up at some point.
Yeah,
in the
as
show.
a stoner, this is an aisle to be in. It's not only colorful, but tasty.
Yeah, I bet I could make some mac and cheese just sitting here too.
Yeah, right.
Yesterday I'm not a cook at all. I've never cooked anything, and I told myself I was going to finally cook mac and cheese yesterday, and I had a box of gluten-free mac and cheese, and it said milk on it, and then I didn't make it because I didn't want to pour milk into it, and I didn't have any milk, so I didn't make it.
Wouldn't that be great?
That's the whole story. I didn't make the mac and cheese.
I'm just imagining our next guest being like, "Why is there peanut butter all over the mic?" We had Mike Cannon here last week. You're just like scooping it out.
There are sometimes I'll do someone's podcast and the mic smells, and I'll be like, "Oh, you had someone in last
Oh
week."
yeah. Every once in a while, there's some
Cannon
real
here?
halitosis on the fucking mic.
There was a summer gig that I used to do in Ocean City, Maryland. One of the resorts would have comedians in, and they'd bring us in for like a week at a time. And whoever the host was of he was there every day. The mic was the worst smelling mic in Like he had a guy who would come in and Febreze the mic without him knowing before the show.
Was it Russ Guten? I've told Russ that he has death in the back of his mouth, so I don't feel bad saying that.
And that shit lingers in the mic, man. It'll stay on there.
It is a wild scene. He's whispered in my ear before, and I fucking I legitimately almost passed out.
Yeah, sometimes a whisper gives away the full breath. A whisper could tell it all.
It's so awful. Man. That makes me want to crawl out of my skin and die. That is so gross.
It is. It's the worst quality to have
always fixable.
socially, and especially in a club business where you have to get close to each other's face to hear each other. And he's like, relaying information.
If a comic's talking to a comic, it's because we're talking over someone's set, so we're whispering in each other's ear.
Which happens all the time for a bunch of sensitive pussies like comics about every little sound and people reacting a certain way. We talk over each other's sets constantly.
Oh my yeah! You go to a bar show. Most of the chatter is comics in the back of the room.
I'll be like
we're
talking
the worst
at room volume to someone in the back, and I'm like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be this loud. And then I'm like, no, we're comics. They can't hear us as if it doesn't apply.
And then you're on stage and someone drops a glass. You're like, you piece of shit. And you're like, but Joe is talking back there right now.
That's one of my favorite. I think Broussard tweeted it where he was like, I'll walk into a room and a comic will be on stage, and I'll be like, this guy's such a fucking hack. He's so untalented. Why is he even in this business? And then a heckler will yell something out, and I'll go, hey, shut up. Let this man do his art, all right?
Dude, that's so crazy that you just mentioned his name, because that just triggered a dream that I had last night that somebody told me Matt Broussard died. And that's the first time I've heard his name since I had the dream, so it just immediately surfaced, and I was like, is he fucking dead?
You're like, hey, don't talk about that, man. He's
Is this
dead.
a posthumous story?
You had a...
Dude, if I'm him, I'm worried. Like, that's so obscure.
What an odd thing. He's not in my life all that often. Like, I like him, and every time we bump into each other, it's great. But I don't see him regularly at all. So it's just an odd thing that somebody in my dream took me aside, and they're like, you hear Matt Broussard died?
That is such a weird thing.
Yeah.
I credit Matt Broussard with my weight loss because I did Big Sky with him, and he was walking around shirtless in the snow.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that looks too perfect.
Looks like a fun
with
thing.
the snow falling on the abs, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I used to do that in college when I was super into it, and sometimes on cocaine. I just have no shirt on, just walking through the Western New York winter, feeling nothing.
Yeah, I used to do that in college. I'd wear like the shorts and the sleeveless shirt in the snow.
No,
thinking
I'm
cool.
saying legitimately nothing. I
don't know why you would do that.
Coke. I was vibrating through the fucking Geneseo, New York weather.
Wow, that is
whipping
cold.
Winds, yeah, an entire
the snow knew to avoid you.
Yeah, I burned right through it.
Wow, that is
a red orb traveling.
That's a
through
cold winter.
Oh yeah, it was the worst.
I was just thinking. I went to Saratoga one time up there. Is that in that area?
That's a little south, but
I had like the weird memory of doing one of the clubs up there, the Comedy Works, and I was at like the Red Robin just killing time, and it was during the Winter Olympics, and it was packed. And I was like, why is it jam-packed for the Winter Olympics? They're like, oh, it's the one where the people ski, and then they have to pull out the rifle and shoot. And I was like, you guys like to ski? And they're like, we like to shoot. And the Red Robin didn't have a seat in it. Everyone watching the skiing and shooting.
That's fantastic.
That's all I remember of Saratoga. It was me and Metzger. I remember it being a miserable weekend. It was snowing out, and I had to drive him to the venue each night, and Kurt was never on time.
No.
And he didn't realize it was a two-man show, basically. It was me and him. So we were the show. Him being late meant I wasn't on stage.
Oh, yeah. Well, you didn't have to stretch?
No.
I've been a part of that before. When I was like maybe 18 months into comedy, I was hanging outside a Broadway comedy club.
Yeah.
And Ray Goots was working at Caroline's at the time, and he I don't know why he was at Broadway. He was maybe doing spots and wasn't working at Caroline's, but heard through the grapevine that Paul Mooney was running super late. And so he ran outside, grabbed me, and ran me to Caroline's. It turns out Harrison Greenbaum had done 90 minutes as the host.
Oh, God.
90 fucking minutes
Oh,
of
my
crowd work
God.
to a militant black audience that obviously
Yeah.
didn't want to hear this effeminate Jewish kids
Yeah.
jokes. Like Paul Mooney loved hiring people to kind of throw him up as sacrificial lambs, but Harrison kills anyway. But then
Harrison does fucking
he
destroy.
crushes all the time. And so Ray runs me through the kitchen, brings me side stage. Harrison sees me. Harrison brings me up. And again, it's this crowd that's been waiting 90 minutes to see Paul Mooney, who is a very specific type of comedian.
Right.
And they wheel my underprepared ass on stage, and they're like, abso-fucking-lutely not. Immediately turned on me. The first premise I said, they were just like audibly out of here, get out of here. And so I bombed for and again, he put me on and was like, you might have to do 40 minutes. Like, I don't know how long you're gonna have to do. And so I did 6 minutes, saw the light. I see Paul Mooney off on the side. This is like years ago, so he was healthier. And I finally get taken off stage. Harrison brings Paul Mooney up, and Paul Mooney walks on stage. He's like, "What is it, white night here at Caroline's?" Just trashes his two white openers.
You're like, dude,
the people who had to hold the show together.
You're like, dude,
and
it's
it crushed, of course.
It's whoever was on the street night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
One time I was doing Catch a Rising Star in Princeton, New Jersey. You know, the one that's in the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing like a hotel comedy room. And I was brand new, so I was 19 maybe. Back then, they paid you. There was only a feature on the show and a headliner, and the feature got $30 to do 30 minutes. An awful gig. And I was opening for this guy. I have no problem saying his name. His name was Joey Novick. He's like an old Jersey guy, real piece of shit.
Oh, I think I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I've never worked with him, though.
I go up. That's a hard thing. You got to go up cold, do 30 minutes. I get them on my side, and they're on my side. I say, everyone, give it up for your headliner, Joey Novick. I bring him up. He gets on there, and he goes, keep it going for whoever the fuck that was. And after I just warmed them up,
That's heartless.
and they laughed at it. And then the guy's big closing bit was he calls a woman up on stage, and then she's his arms.
Oh.
Yeah, that original
I've never
thing.
seen that before on cruises.
Fenoya, we had Fenoya on before this became an actual podcast in our episodes that don't exist.
Yeah.
And he talked about how one of the cruise agencies...
You were just bringing your friends here and having a
we
conversation?
didn't have cameras, and we realized what a waste to
He wasn't
podcast.
plugged into anything. He was like, wait, what?
Oh,
There's just no cords.
dude,
You're like
I
the
used to
coach from Waterboy
I used to do
talking
a
into the
solo
phone.
podcast, and one time I forgot to record it. And that's the worst thing, because you're like, I literally just talked for 45 minutes for nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you've what is this, the third time now Fenoya's done your podcast and it hasn't aired?
Yeah, I one time, Bro Bible wanted me to do a podcast, and as a pilot, the pilot episode was Fenoya. And then he's also done this one, and it hasn't released.
Yeah.
And I think
How
he
does
might
a
have
I think that was
podcast
the
not
third
get green lit?
from me being the host. No, I don't know what the fuck happened there. What? Oh, it was because the
But you could have
the
just
whole
put
premise
it out,
of
right?
that podcast was based on me moving to Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
And
That
you know,
just never
it's a lot to ask to just come up with $10,000
Sure.
to just have the money to move to another state.
Yeah, they
I
could
was
have
like,
fronted
yeah, I
that.
could host this podcast, and I realized I can't fucking move out of my parents' house. What am I doing? I need to. I mean, I'm so poor that our podcast studio is my dad's work. This is my dad's
This
place.
is great,
of employment.
though.
Yeah.
My dad pays the bills for the podcast studio.
Yeah, it really is incredible.
Yeah, he's keeping the lights
we
on.
got very minimal overhead.
I used to work in this deli,
Crates are
too.
not an expensive thing
Yeah.
to come
Deli's
by.
fun
You'd
to
be
me.
amazed at the
I
price
found
you
that
can
up.
get on a
I
crate.
found that crate upstairs just now.
I gotta say, this feels good. I'm like, it is a comfortable chair.
And you're
I'm
looking down
higher
at
than
us,
you guys.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
we do that
Letterman.
on purpose. We put the guest above us to talk down.
Yeah, we're doing
Nice.
the
Hell yeah.
opposite of oh fuck, who's the guy on Fox Sports?
Shepard Smith.
Yeah, exactly. No, the herd, Colin Coward. He's like 10 feet away from his guests, and he's also above them. I'm like, what are you trying to gain right now?
I was really hoping it was going to be Shepard Smith.
It would
Big
have been a lot
Shepard
better.
Smith.
All right,
fan.
I watched Shepard Smith.
It
Got
was.
me.
My grandfather loves Fox News, and one day we were watching, and he goes, Shepard Smith is gay. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, Grandpa. I've no idea. Maybe, who cares? And then he looks at him and he goes, I bet he writes with his left hand. And I was like, that's my grandfather's his slight at
Yeah,
gay
that's like an
people.
old school Italian thing. Like
Yeah.
absolute
You know what? He was
nonsensical.
probably just a lefty growing up, and his friends made fun of him for it.
Yeah,
That's his
right.
whole belief
Well,
system.
Italians believe in very odd things, meaning
Yeah,
like
Maloikia, the evil
homosexual
eye.
or oh yeah, the Maloican thing. I
What's that?
have bits in my act. It's what is it? The devil horns? or
The-
something
yeah,
like
it's like
that?
the evil eye too. The Maloikia. It's like
Oh,
sometimes
yeah,
they'll
yeah,
wear
yeah.
the eye.
Yeah, right.
I'm Italian, but barely. I've got most of the Irish in me. My last
Yeah.
name means the death in Italian. Yeah, like a shitty amateur wrestler.
Yeah.
Dan the Death.
What do
Wow,
you-
your last name looked forward to your career.
Basically,
Premonition.
it actually, yeah,
It's
I just-
Nostradamus.
Yeah, it's hard because you.
it is a stage name actually.
Yeah, you're
dying on
exactly.
stage.
Meanwhile, he's in his dreams preparing for the death of Matthew Broussard.
yeah, right.
Can you imagine if he dies? You're gonna have to be so terrified of like what your power now.
I mean, it also that would feel pretty powerful.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't even be terrified. I'd be scared for you guys.
if I
I
were
would
you,
be-
I'd just be going up to people going, "You're next."
No, I would be scared for comics who are bigger than us.
Yeah, right.
I would just start
Whoever's in my
slowly taking out.
subconscious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just slowly. That's actually a cool idea. A comic who's a serial killer who kills other comics to get to the top.
Well, the new late night set is were you in a dream of my cannons? That's what it means, you know.
That's getting the couch on Carson.
Yeah.
Well, this was the first place I worked. I used to sleep on the floors here because I didn't want to work. So, like in the back area, my dad would let me sleep on the floor, and he'd pay me for it.
Oh, that was nice
your
of
first
him.
job as cool?
No, my
Like
first
that smooth
job.
transition of
yeah, it was pretty
Seamless.
sweet.
Seamless.
That's also very enabling of your father, but but no, I never worked for my dad. What was my first job? My first job was a busboy for my actual now wife's father.
Oh no shit.
He owned a restaurant. We grew up next door to each other and stuff, so we were always in each other's lives. But I
Oh,
worked
so
as
you
a
guys are like one of
busboy.
those good couples.
I mean, we've been on and off, so we've each dated other people. It's not like
Oh,
psychotic.
See, my
That's
parents
sweet,
have been
though.
together since they're like 14 and only broke up once.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
we've been together since we were 10 years old. Like we lived next door to each other since we were in 5th grade, and dated as children. But
Wow.
but yeah, took time apart, dated other people.
That's
that,
awesome.
Yeah,
You guys go to school together or no?
we did not. No, I went to 2 years of junior college in Rockland Community
Hell yeah.
College, and then I went to Geneseo. She went to Syracuse.
Okay.
Rockland,
Yeah.
that's Nyack area.
Oh yeah, baby.
That college. I had a scholarship there to play baseball.
Oh no shit.
Didn't
Yeah,
go.
I used to play ball there. Or,
Really?
play basketball, like
At
summer
Nyack?
league shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a team that was in their conference in Felician University.
Yeah, I know that place. Yeah.
That's where I played baseball.
Nice.
So you guys are from up there?
Yeah, Rockland
Okay.
County, right outside of like Levity. You ever
Yeah,
been
yeah,
there?
sure.
Yeah, that's.
I've had some of my worst sets at Levity Live, I think. One of the nicest green rooms, one of the few that lets you smoke weed in it.
Oh no, kidding! I didn't
But
even realize that.
one of the worst. I've never had a good set at Levity
really?
Live. There's something about being that high up and bombing that
Yeah.
feels worse. You're
Well, it
like,
also depends on crowd size. If there's a good sized crowd, it's kind of easier to do well. 'cause
yeah, that's
it's
a
almost
tough
like a
room
theater.
when it's
But if
tiny
it's
because it's
empty-
like an empty theater.
Yeah,
I've been in there for like 30 people.
I've done private events for like 35 software engineers, and it was like maybe the worst experience of my entire life. It was fucking brutal. I'm like asking them about their job, and they're like trying to eat, like not
Yeah.
even turning around. And I'm like,
That's the
you
the
guys
not
had
turning
your
around.
party at a comedy club. It's not my fault.
Yeah, right. None of us want to be here. You know?
The places that I do feel bad for the employees of businesses who make their holiday party a comedy show.
Yeah.
I'm like, just have all of this minus us.
Just
Just have a venue with alcohol.
I think like I wonder if it's a response to the Me Too movement because the holiday party is typically where coworkers fuck.
Yeah.
So they're maybe trying to eliminate that by having somebody else talk for
Fair.
them.
Or they're like, look how easy you have it
Yeah.
not being a
Like,
comic.
yeah, you guys aren't going to interact, so you won't
Right.
flirt, so you won't make each other laugh. Instead, you'll jointly hate this human
Yeah,
on a
right.
raised
now all
platform.
that happens is they end up
Start
having
every
sex in
private
front of
gig
you.
with that now. That's how you should open your private sets.
Yeah,
That'll get you the contract money.
you're goddamn right. Damn it, I only thought of it now.
Yeah. So you worked for your future father-in-law.
Yeah.
Was he good? Was he a cool boss? Or?
No, he sucks.
How was he as a father-in-law?
He sucks. He's like 1B father-in-law. Her stepfather is more my father-in-law.
Oh,
we
okay,
have we
okay.
have direct contact and a really great relationship.
Great,
He's
okay.
fucking awesome. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. No,
So
he
what'd you say
stinks.
it was-
He's one of those guys that didn't know anything about us and like came to the wedding and was like, "What's this guy in pajamas doing? Fucking marrying my daughter."
Yeah.
And it's like my friend who's a shaman.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's furious. There was no religion to the ceremony, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you haven't talked to us in quite a while.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
I love when you run into a relative who actually says something to you and you're like, do you not know who I am?
Yeah.
I'm not going to agree with any of this sentiment you just said.
Yeah, for sure.
They start bargaining too. They're like, you gotta at least admit that. You're like, I don't have to admit anything. I don't, you know?
Yes. Oh, I got into a knockdown drag out fight with his wife about like the this is before like my wife and I got married, and I was totally anti-marriage. I'm still anti-marriage. I would only marry my wife. If
That's
if
really
this,
nice, though.
Yeah, but if this breaks down, there's no possibility that I ever re-enter this agreement with anyone else. It's just not a possibility. So I had this argument about her with her saying that the whole thing of marriage is to limit a woman's sexuality. Like if you read the Bible, every dude is sailing off to parts unknown and fucking like seahorse women and shit like that, and just like banging anybody and their wife is at home taking care of the kids, but she's married, so she can't step outside.
I should have given the Bible a chance. I didn't know it was this good,
dude. And I just picked this fight with her for no reason, and she just absolutely snapped. And she couldn't source the parts of the Bible that I could, because I've actually read it. But it was a pretty fun argument.
I pick fights with family on purpose, but that's because my grandmother is actually insane to the point where she has something called the leaderboard.
Okay.
Which is a wooden customized board that hangs in her home that has the faces of the grandchildren on magnets numbered 1 through 10. So depending on how you're acting as a grandchild, she moves you up and down the board.
So she can remember, or just as
just to
punishment for you guys?
remind us to rank us. Yeah,
that's great.
And we have one cousin who's always been number 10.
That's an organizational tool that a lot of grandmothers could learn from.
It's interesting to see because you walk into their home and know where you stand immediately, because it's the first thing you see when you walk in. It's right to the right.
Yeah, I'd have such a hard time if I walked in and saw myself at 10.
Well, the hardest is my cousin Ariana. My cousin Ariana's never not been number 10. She's the perpetual 10, and she does like the most for them, but I guess my grandmother doesn't see it.
That's always the case.
I'm 7 to 10. I'm never on the left side. The doctors are on the left side.
See, if I was 10, I would just steer the plane right into the ground. I would
well, that's the thing. Us on the right,
life a living hell for the remainder of it.
Yeah.
She's intense, man. The other day she said she wanted to give her dog back. She's had this dog for years. She's wanted to give it up a few times, and she says, "I'm giving it up." And we said, "Why?" And she goes, "All it does is take. It takes. It never gives." And my mom goes, "Yeah, it's a dog. What do you want it to pay rent?" And my grandmother's like, "She never wags her tail enough when I walk in the house. She doesn't look happy enough." And I'm like, "Oh my God.
Wow.
This is your behavior."
Yes. Next thing you know, she's going to add the dog's face to the leaderboard.
Yeah, right. You're number 11, Sparky, you piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's so...
It's fun because I have one really cold grandma and then one really warm grandma. I love them both. I have all 4 grandparents still alive.
Oh, nice.
And I've been making the morbid joke recently where people say, like, that must be, like, a really good thing. And I'm like, is it? Or have I just had to get to know 4 people really well before they die?
Yeah.
Like, I now need to know them so much better.
Yeah. Now it just hurts a little bit more.
Exactly.
If I were number 10, I would invest. You're right. Just sink it to the ground. You imagine being a doctor and you're just like, you retire just to make your grandmother's life a living hell. Like, that's your only priority.
You give up a healthy practice.
In my family, if you're a doctor, you're 1 or 2.
Yeah, exactly. You would never have to
Actually, we have the veterinarian above the doctor, which definitely makes the doctor angry. But he's a dentist, so.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she is an animal person after all, you know?
Yeah, animals over teeth.
For sure. And we make the thing, because if you were to get shot in an illegal thing, you go to a veterinarian over a dentist, I think, to help you out. If you're bleeding out and don't want to go to a hospital, you go to a vet.
You wouldn't go to a dentist.
No, you don't go to a dentist.
Could you suture this?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I can put veneers in, but that's about it.
Yeah.
It's got to suck, becoming a dentist and being in a family like mine that does nothing but make fun of you for being a dentist.
I have a feeling that is the majority of dental families.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's like being a chiropractor.
They just laugh into their hundreds of thousands of dollars of money.
I don't know if they laugh or cry, but it's one of them. I mean, they make a lot of money, and they certainly are.
He married, or he's dating another dentist, so I guess they're gonna have a lot of fun and money.
Could you imagine? They probably just suck down nitrous in fucking 69.
Suck down nitrous at 69.
That's what I would do if I was a dentist.
Like, why would that be your position of choice? Get over here.
Yeah, you get weird with that.
They're all about mouths.
Of all the positions after nitrous, 69.
Yeah.
69 is an intense position.
Yeah.
It is.
Have you ever been on top in a 69? Yeah, I've done that before.
It
and
feels
I gotta
too
say,
rude.
I felt real bad the whole time.
It feels rude.
Because that is damn near. First of all, it's strangling somebody.
Yeah.
And also, I wouldn't wish my asshole on my worst enemy.
No.
Like, there's a couple guys that are like, yeah, a chick is eating my ass. It's like, I would not allow another person to put their.
You looked at me so quickly. I'm team
No,
ass
I
eating.
do it. I'm into it.
Yeah.
But I'm not like my asshole is not up for public consumption.
Yeah.
It's truly like
Yeah.
it's hallowed ground.
There's caution tape in front of mine, but
Yeah.
I'm quick to move it.
Yeah,
I
right.
move the tape if need be. I'll peel it back.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a
a
bad
barbed
term.
wire
Wait,
fence
how
that
did
you
that-
could just move.
How did you even assume that position with someone? Like
I
that
was
just
drunk,
seems so
just
Standing
being,
up
just being
first.
drunk, and also not like knowing this person. Like it was probably, I think it was a random hookup or
For
something.
guys
like
on
that.
top of the 69, I'm just assuming that they got drunk and fell that way
Yeah.
and didn't want to change.
Yeah, I was checking out some other
I just
areas.
imagine you're right. You're just choking someone the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, she fared okay. I think I ended up propping myself up on my knees, but that also, like, then she had to lift her nose into my asshole while blowing me. And it was like, I mean, maybe the worst punishment you could put on somebody.
Take that for the side of the pastrami sandwich.
I think they used to do that at Guantanamo, right?
Ass eating's incredible because just think of the comeback it had after it rebranded.
Right.
It was rim jobs.
It's
and
like
it didn't
Fila.
work. What's a Fila?
It's like Fila. Like Fila went away after Grant Hill stopped, doing their shoes.
Yeah, and Sleepy's
now
went
they're
away and
back.
became mattress firm.
Yep.
Rim job became ass eating.
It's back.
What a shock that ass eating is what made it work. Rim job was too intense. It was such intense a name that no one partook.
I
in it.
think
You know,
part
I think
I
it
think-
was more than ass eating. I think it was season SZN. Ass eating season. The
Season, yeah,
season
yeah.
put it over the top.
You're very
Like,
right.
Yeah.
Ass eating is okay, but like season,
Yeah, you're
you
right.
feel like Drake.
Yeah, and it's and it also it's because it just feels like
You're
a
right.
temporary.
I always wondered what's that taste when I'm eating ass, and it's Drake.
Yeah.
It's OVO.
I feel like Drake.
That's really true because it that appeals to a demographic of like Barstool like bros. You know what I mean? Because
Oh, yeah.
they're like wedding season. You throw season on it.
100%.
You don't eat it, right?
And as soon as you put it out into the public, like as something like grimy and like kind of wild that you could be doing, people are like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
popularize that."
That's
Why
why I
wouldn't
don't like looking like this though, because anytime there's a grimy thing, they just assume you do the griminess.
Yeah,
And I
mean,
do,
Yeah,
but
Yeah, I
everyone
do,
does,
but I don't
man.
like to give it
Everyone
away
does,
so
you
easily.
know?
Yeah. Like I feel like if a girl's going,
Your
gonna sleep with
beard
me or
must
Jack, she's
stink.
gonna. If you a girl,
I can't imagine the absolute mayhem that has been combed through that thing.
do you know the
Yes, sir.
shampoos I have? I have special beard shampoo that on the side just says use after ass eating for the remnants of a good time.
Dude, that is wild. You're so right though. The season thing, it just like the rebranding of it. That's like if I were like a marketing company, I would be using that in pitch meetings to be like, we can sell fucking anything if
Yeah.
we brand it right.
Tomorrow,
sure.
Wendy's is gonna open as ass eating.
What was it? This Hot Girl Summer or like that shit? Like
Hot Girl Summer. I don't know
was
what
real
that
big.
was, but I know it
I
existed.
don't know what it was. It was just an excuse to post more bikini pictures.
You're
Which I'm
right.
like, yeah,
Fair.
salute.
Have at. Why not?
Yeah.
I got to
That's
get
so
into the
funny.
bikini pics myself. I got to get into a bikini. I think
Do it. Take the
body positivity.
Stavros
Oh yeah,
approach.
Stavi does it.
Yeah.
That's it. Sucks when a fat guy takes all the naked fat pictures.
No, you have a different angle. You're the hairy, furry fat guy.
I thought you were gonna say.
He's like
He's
a-
like
also
oddly
say-
hairless, isn't he?
He's like a beluga whale. You can't
Like
see
a
a
different angle.
stitch of
Dude,
his hair.
I actually saw he posted something today. I don't even know the guy. He posted something today, so I went to his page. I must have watched. There's a video of him laying in bed naked, handcuffed, and he says, "Oh no, I hope nobody." And then he zooms in on his face, his toothless face, and he goes, "Sucks me off." I watched it 10 times in a row, and it got funnier every
Yeah, it's
time.
very funny. Stop, it's hilarious.
He is.
But yeah, you're hairy and you're not even you're stocky.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm losing the obesity. I
Yeah,
want
that's
to.
great, man. What do you weigh?
225 now.
That's awesome.
I was up to 350, baby.
That's crazy. Good for you.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's a fun weight to be at 350.
You-
I maintain that was the
you lost a healthy woman's weight.
yeah I have.
You shed a person.
Yeah, fit
I-
chick.
Yeah, I've picked up dumbbells before and be like, wow, I lost this in my stomach. But then
wild?
the dumbbell never looks as tasty as a bag of tropical Skittles.
Wow.
That's my go-to.
You're a
dude.
sweet guy?
Sweets, I've never given them up, which must be so funny for the guy at my gas station because he's only seen me come in and buy candy while still losing 120 pounds.
He's like, this guy has
Yeah.
AIDS.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, exactly what he
Yeah.
thinks.
Dude,
Dying.
the candy,
Huge candy
corporations
addict.
need to come for you and be like, see, like we're not the problem.
What'd you cut out?
Gluten.
Yeah, go ahead,
You
please.
gotta
Come
just
on
shop
in.
while we're doing it.
Okay, sure.
Wow. Usually when people come to
Well, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
I've never had someone just be like so openly rude down the aisle.
Yeah, she was like, I need to get past you. I'm like,
well, yeah, you could easily.
Yeah,
yeah, there's two other options that lead directly to where you need to
After
be.
that whole thing happened, there was 3 other routes to that fridge.
Well, it's hilarious because she didn't even exit through the same row. She just went around.
That was so interesting.
I'm like, this was an option the whole time, you know?
One time we had a guy buy soup just because he accidentally came down the aisle and wanted to buy something.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
Soup
cheapest
tends to be the
mistake you
thing
could
we
make.
give out the most here.
Huh?
Soup tends to be the one that people wanted the most, but since we've added the cameras, no one's really extra soup except one guy.
Now, I hate to think we're ruining your dad's inventory.
I would come down here for pepperoncinis. I see that right over there.
It's an
Maybe a
interesting
bit of
aisle.
coffee. Yeah, it's eclectic, but in the worst possible way.
Do you think we could rebrand ass eating with this? Pepper rings?
Wow, the pepper ring.
Only Latina chicks.
That was the good one, the pepper ring.
That's
I got
great.
so thrown off from that. I'm like, why did we stand up when nothing was even bought in the aisle?
She rattled me, dude. She didn't want anything to do with us. She saw this and she was like, fuck
I
that.
have a feeling that maybe the topics were upsetting to her, and she walked through as a general, like she was
Protest.
just being the Joker. She wanted
Oh, we
to watch
were
the world
talking
burn.
about munching butt.
Yeah,
She wasn't
sure
here
were.
for that.
That is a little
Sure, let's get her back.
unsanitary
Hey,
for-
come back.
Yeah, we have a question.
We gotta know.
I
Was
think
it
eventually
was it the
we
pepper
should
rings?
have like an extra seat here and just have a customer sit down and interview them.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea.
I mean, I could see it being bad, maybe.
I mean, there's no. When I say not a bad idea, I mean it's a for sure bad idea, but it
But
would be interesting.
Content is
content.
content.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you ever had a crazy firing story?
Yeah. So I used to work at a gymnastics gym.
Really?
Yeah, when I was like, I think I went there when I was like 15 or 17.
What got you in the foam pit? I love a foam pit.
So I went there because I just needed a job, and I was sick of waiting tables. I wanted to do something else, and I just like didn't know what it even was. I was like, hey, I'll go in and be a janitor.
Yeah.
And this 65-year-old Russian woman with like fake breasts, lips, like the whole pullback face. She was working behind the counter. She literally, when I came there, walked around the counter,
Yeah.
looked me up and down, and slapped me on the ass and goes, "You're hired." And then I just started coaching kids' birthday parties, like doing, the vault, the cheese mat. I was doing the bars, so I was spotting like down to like 2 years old. Like like little children
Yeah.
are in your hands, and you're like spotting them. I then did the what was that? The blocks. What are
Pommel
those? No, I did do that actually, but
You have no credentials for this,
I
by
have
the
none.
way.
None.
Yeah.
I can't even touch my toes, dude.
Yeah.
Like but I'm an athlete. Like I
Yeah.
played
They have you
basketball in
teaching the
college and
rings.
shit. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
But they had the big thing into what you just
The foam
mentioned
pit.
it. Foam pit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you ever been in that as an adult? Very
yeah.
hard to get out of.
It's
Yeah.
almost impossible.
Yeah. When I
So-
did it in Big Sky, it was the worst. That was one of the worst I ever felt about myself because
Yeah.
I was so heavy. I jumped in, and then they have a camera facing you where you could watch yourself trying to get out. And that was, I think, the worst thing I've ever watched
Yeah,
in my life.
That's like beating off in the
Yep,
mirror.
except just the opposite.
Yeah. Well, and not to mention, I'm not sure if you even let your mind go there, but you jumped into a huge foam pit of piss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, kids have been just.
Oh, I mean,
pissing
I literally
all over
picked
those
up
things.
That's the
underwear
draw,
with
though.
my
Yeah,
toes.
yeah.
I picked up underwear with my toes that were in the bottom
Oh,
of the
that's
foam
hot
pit.
as shit.
Billings,
Yeah.
Montana underwear.
Hell
It's
yeah.
kind of like the more you struggle, the harder it is to get out. You know what I mean? Like you just kind of have to.
It's fun.
At the
It
same
is.
time, that's the only way to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they fire someone from a gymnastics place, they should just push them in the foam pit.
Good luck.
That's so extra
They have to
embarrassing.
burrow down through everything.
So
How
what
did it
happened when
go?
she fired you? Was
So-
like your
Well,
ass?
how did it
your
go
ass
south?
wasn't as good as it started.
It sounded like it started so well. How
Yeah,
did it
it's
go
promising.
south?
Like I go through years of this, right? Where I was working there for a while, where I'd go and do birthday parties, and I was an actual
No, you're
teacher
good.
of gymnastics. Then I did their summer camp. I did all this stuff for years, and then during college, I was also like, I made some Desperate Housewives joke to one of the women coaches that was there, and she was a mother of another gymnast, and we like immediately started flirting. I was 20 years old at this point. She was like between 40 and 45.
Yeah.
We ended up.
Wow, so you went in with the Desperate Housewives. You knew what was going to work.
I just said something like that, like just like kind of like a what up?
Yeah.
Like a terrible, like, you know, some 20-year-old kid with actual confidence just
Yeah, right.
says, like, before his life's been shattered.
Right.
That was
I
was
love
me
that
at that
with
point.
actual confidence. That makes so much sense. The
Oh,
early
yeah.
20s confidence that disappears by
Yeah,
24.
it is. I'm a shell of myself. So back then, I do that. We immediately start texting, whatever. We end up hooking up in the gym. Like, so we go after hours. I had to buy her like a 6-pack of Smirnoff Ice or something like that. I was underage. She's like a grandmother. And I get this Smirnoff Ice for her. We go meet at the gym. We end up hooking up on the vault and the cheese mat.
Oh yeah.
And it's like this.
Because why stop at one?
Why stop at one, right? It was great. You know, I'm not going to get too into it just
Wait,
because
the
of
vault,
where
isn't
we're
that the
at.
thing, like the thing that makes you bounce?
The vault is the thing you push off of.
Yeah, like you jump.
So it's perfect for
Oh.
or for a certain
Like
season.
springboarding up
Yeah,
and down.
yeah, it's perfect for a certain season. If you
Yeah,
guys are
you know what I
catching my
mean.
drift. I'm just saying it in the middle of the cucumbers.
Uh.
So I you know, we end up doing that. It's great, whatever. She immediately, for whatever reason, catches feelings. Like, I think her ex-husband was in prison. It
Oh,
was
so
like
she's
this-
not married right now.
No, I
After you
don't
have
think
sex,
so.
one of the better things you can catch.
Yeah, that's very
feelings.
true. Yeah, I mean, and considering her, you know, I could have caught some ancient disease, but
Doesn't even exist in
some
our universe.
70s STI that just they have no more cure for. It's been dormant for
Yeah,
decades.
right. You either got the vaccine
there
for this in
STDs?
1950 or you
Godzilla
didn't.
of
I would love to know if there's something like that out there. That
There's
exists.
got to be, right? You got to shake something loose. If
An
you bang some
STD that you could
9-year-old.
only cure with Quaaludes.
How old was her kid?
So her kid was 18. So this
Oh,
plays
Oh,
out.
you're kidding me.
This plays into it. So we hook up, whatever. We're still kind of talking on like via text, but enough time passes where it's like
Yeah.
not a thing anymore, right? And then I end up going back for another summer or some break or something like that, and I was hanging out with her daughter. And we immediately start vibing and flirting and stuff like
No.
that. Yeah, and it I guess becomes evident to the rest of the gym. You know, it's a gymnastics gym, so people are like wildly immature. Even the 18-year-olds that are in the national team, they have like arrested development at like 11 years old. So they're all whispering, telling like secrets, like being like real,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. And so it gets around that me and this daughter are flirting and that we're gonna hook up. Nobody knows I had this prior relationship with her mom, but it gets around to all the other coaches, and the mom hears about it
And the husband's in prison.
in prison, yeah, or ex-husband, whatever.
Bold choice.
And she hears about it and snaps, loses her mind in the gym in front of about 60 kids, and goes, "Don't fuck him!
Oh no!
I fucked him on the vault and the cheese mat." And then the guy Sasha, who was like the national coach, literally like covered her with a marathon blanket and like walked her into the office. And everybody, including the kids, hear her scream about us hooking up and about how her and her daughter's about to hook up. And it's like this insane thing. And finally, it dies down after however long. The coach walks
my
out and he's
God.
like, "You gotta go." He's like, you just can't come back,
Yeah.
dude. He's like, "I still love you, but like, you can't come back."
Yeah,
And I'm like,
fair.
"Yeah, all right."
Did
She yelled out on the cheese mat.
Yeah,
That's what
on
got
the
me.
vault
Did you
and the cheese mat.
Did you fuck my mom on the vault? It was ass eating season. What do you
Yeah,
want from me?
yeah.
I'm human.
Oh, my
So did you ever do anything with her, or was that a?
No, I missed we missed the opportunity. She even continued to contact me a little bit after that, like when we both went
I
away
could see
to
that
school.
being hot. Like if the mom, that's one.
I mean,
like
that would have been real cool.
a
I know someone
parent
who's-
condemning a relationship is one thing, but condemning it because they used to have sex with the person.
Yeah.
That's a whole
I know
different
someone who's
level
done.
on this.
I know someone who's done that. A comedian who
Mother-daughter.
they both same guy,
That's-
like unrelated too, and they were both were like, "This is a funny thing we did." Opposite effect.
Woody
of you.
Allen?
Could have been
Wait,
human.
at the same time?
No, it wasn't a threesome. It was
Oh,
like
okay.
it was like separate occasions.
Oh, God,
and they were
that's
like,
the same
I think
too.
it was kind of like, "Mom, you banging that guy? I banged him. No way!" And it was like a bonding thing. Yeah.
That is real
So
weird.
yours is actually like as sickening as it is, a more healthy dynamic. As disgusting as you. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, it's not healthy.
I
Well,
like
No,
that
no,
she
no,
made
but I'm
you
saying-
illegally buy liquor.
I had some Persian
I
guys.
know, but she
fake
was of
ID.
age. She was of age.
My boy
Yeah, right.
Cameron Coletti. I don't know why she made me buy it.
What I'm saying is sickening is like as ridiculous as her reaction was.
Oh, yeah.
Is the more healthy reaction.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean? Instead of being like, "Hey, nice," you know, like.
Well, she made you buy that because that was like her
Those are
one troll
tests.
question in front of the bridge.
Wow, yeah,
That was,
you're right.
You could pass if he could simply get alcohol at 20 years old.
And I did. Yeah. Well, and the weird thing was I was playing cards for a living at the time. So I left a table that I had a lot of, like, not a lot of money, but I had like $500-600 on.
Yeah.
And it was a home game. And so she was like, "You want to go again after we had sex?" I was like, "I got a lot of money on the table." I was like, "I gotta go," and she's like, "Are you fucking kidding?" I'm like, "Sorry, lady." In my head, I'm like, "My entire life's gonna be banging these ladies."
Yeah, right.
You know, that's what you think when you're like 20 years old.
Yeah, to the people who watch porn and they're like, that's unrealistic. To them, I say, talk to Mike
Yeah, I
because
have one instant. Of,
I think it is realistic. It's just you can't grasp the situation as good as a porn star can. That's what I'm starting to learn.
Oh yeah.
Like you could put yourself in the situation of the people who want to act like that, but if you live up to the task,
No,
I'm
all you-
basically
all you
saying
do
a
is
girl
do
asked me
cool
to tie
things
her up
and
and I
come
didn't know
quick.
how to tie a knot. I don't know how to tie knots, and that was a big deterrent in a girl who really liked getting tied up. That's not even a bit. I have no idea how to tie a knot, and it ruined the sex because I couldn't do it.
yeah, that's
My
very.
mouth
And
was a
there are
fisherman.
There
He
are
tried-
so many YouTube videos.
I
You gotta
don't
be
know
like,
what it
I'm
is.
gonna be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom. You're like watching.
I've watched maybe 50 different men tie their ties on YouTube and still can't tie a tie.
Oh yeah, YouTube is my father basically.
Yeah.
I've learned more life skills from YouTube videos than my actual dad.
Yeah, YouTube's my father's father. Like
I
my
can't
dad
wait to
has
have my
discovered
dad
it.
on
Everything
a podcast
is.
episode and see how much we don't know about each other.
Was that was a deal breaker with this woman?
With me, yeah. Once I'm in my own head in the bedroom
Yeah,
that I can't
that's
live up
fair.
to what they want, it's game over.
Yeah.
Like I'll do some weird shit, but it's all about if I could tie the knot or not.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get a sailor's knot on that bedpost.
Oh man.
I do like a shoelace one, and that's not sturdy enough for a
really
human
cute
arm.
bunny
yeah,
ears.
not thick rope.
Yeah, what ends up happening is they yank it a weird way. And you know
Elbow
when you
you.
yank a shoelace knot, then you just can't untie it. So now the person is just awkwardly tied to your bed.
Well, then you got to play it off like that was my plan all along. That's a very firm knot.
They
Just
made
when
a
you fuck
movie
up
like
the-
that called Gerald's Game. The guy ties up his wife, and then he dies. And she's just tied up.
Forever?
I can't remember if the movie ends with her. Oh, a killer then breaks into her house. What are the
Wow.
chances?
That's good
That's-
writing.
It's just double bad luck.
Yeah, it's weird because like she lives and then she thinks she's so delusional that she saw this guy walk in and out of her home, and it turns out it was like a real guy who killed the next door neighbors. Like they just threw that in at the end.
How did that
I
happen?
love when a movie does that. When I get really stoned, I'll watch shitty rom-coms.
Uh-huh.
And there's one on Netflix. I don't know if it's on there anymore. It was with Robert Pattinson, the dude from Twilight.
Sure.
And it's
You
like a
didn't even have to
rom-com.
say that second
yeah.
part.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm a Harry Potter nerd, so I always preface it that it wasn't Harry Potter because he was in that. But he works in New York, and they have like a relationship, and the whole movie happens. A lot of trials, tribulations. It works out good. And then he's finally at his new job. It's first day, and he's writing on the board of this office building, and then they zoom out, and then the date on the board just says September 11th, 2001, and they zoom out again, and he's standing in the World Trade Center. So they just kill him off at the end of the movie.
Oh, I saw that movie.
It's
Or
a
I didn't-
regular movie, and
I
then it
didn't
just
see
ends
that.
with that. It's
I
just
remember that one.
That's brutal.
I remember when that came out and people were like, "Why did that part
yeah,
happen?"
and that's just the ending of the. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck?
I think that was the Rotten Tomatoes review. Was just like, well, that last
Yeah.
part was
That's
wild.
one way
That's
to
like
end a
that-
relationship.
That's just like Hollywood being like, we can do whatever the fuck we want,
You
and
got
you
to
have
right.
to
felt
watch
like,
it.
and that's literally the ending of the movie. It just zooms out, and you're like, oh no, he's about to get hit by a plane. And just-
no relevancy.
Nope, nothing.
He lived in Oklahoma the whole movie.
It was his first day in New York.
Oh, that's brutal.
I don't know why. I love rom-coms. It's my go-to.
Yeah, me too. I could watch those. Those are like dessert TV, man.
Yeah, my
I just-
favorite one of all time was Serendipity, and it got ruined for me once Matt Rife started dating Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, man.
If a comic dates an actress, I can't do it anymore.
Matt Rife.
He's
the
like the
wildin' out kid.
21-year-old
Yeah,
wild
yeah.
and out
Oh,
kid.
yeah, that
Kate
gorgeous-
Beckinsale
that
was like
gorgeous
44, a beautiful actress.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that I remember that movie. I don't know why, because John Cusack.
Yeah, I remember them
Serendipity.
laying down on the ice and
Yes, and he throws like a glove in the
she
air.
had to find a stupid book. Is that
Yeah, they met one night, and instead of they had like the best night ever. They're like, we love each other, but instead of really loving each other, let's write something in a book, and if we find this book again, we'll be together. And of course, they found the book.
I wish they like fast forwarded 2 weeks to their first fight, like after they rejoined. Like
She's
together
throwing the
forever.
book at him.
It's so amazing. Yeah, exactly. She's beating him in the dick with the book.
I didn't even mean this. I wish they would. I was thinking that the other day. Is there any stoner rom-coms? I mean, you have to look at whatever, I guess, Seth Rogen has done. But like a
Yeah.
stoner-oriented rom-com, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I guess Fast Times at Ridgemont High, kind of.
I guess.
But that's a lot of different genres because it's the high school movie. It's
Yeah.
you know,
I love Fast Times.
yeah, it's great.
That's
I
the one where
always-
the kid looks like Tim Lincecum, right?
Yeah.
The little kid with the long hair.
Spumoni. That's not it.
Spicoli.
Spicoli, yeah.
Spumoni is the pizza place.
That's right.
Spumoni Gardens. I went to a Sweet 16 once and they catered it. I miss Sweet 16s.
Do you? I don't.
I like the
don't
food
care.
there.
Yeah.
I like a good ice cream buffet.
Oh man, I got caught fingering chicks in the coat closet at Sweet 16s a
Hell
couple
yeah.
times.
In the
yeah.
coat
I was
closet.
32 years old. Boom.
I was the door guy.
Yeah. I was the bartender.
My big go-to move when I was younger was if like me and whoever I was dating at the time were like feeling horny and it was like a family party, we would tell my little cousins we'd play hide and seek and then we'd just hide in the closet and fuck.
That's a power move.
It is, because one, you have to trust your hiding spot,
Right.
that it's so good that they're not going to find you.
That's
the shit
incredible.
you'd get away with, like when you first start like really having sex, like you convince yourself is like normal.
I remember my high school girlfriend I had sex with when I was on one of my breaks with my boy. I had sex in her younger brother's bed while we watched Dawson's Creek for no reason. Like her room was right next door.
What do you mean for no reason?
Like I mean, I
That's
guess
perfect.
there's a reason. Yeah, we both now
Because it
follow
was
each
just
other
the
on
period of your
Instagram,
life.
so
You'd be like, well, we're
doesn't
alone
really-
right now somehow.
While we watch Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
Like how that's like more of the focal point. You're like, oh right, we are having sex.
I gotta
as well.
say, I think it's still responsible for my warm feelings towards that show. I still enjoy it.
Sex with the TV on is hard now because we just have so many friends who are, commercial actors or voiceover.
Yeah.
Like you're just having sex and then your buddy's like doing a voiceover commercial for a yogurt. And you're
Oh,
like,
dude,
this is disgusting.
it's happened to me with my sister. My sister is a voiceover artist, and I'll be beating my dick at home, and all of a sudden a Twizzler commercial will come on, and I'm like coming to my sister's voice.
Oh no! I always do think about that because so many of our friends work in voiceover. You just hear
Yeah.
it so often in very intimate moments. I've never
They're a
done
part of it.
voiceover work. I auditioned one time to play Swifty the Unicorn in the She-Ra comeback.
Oh hell yeah!
And I did an accent. You can never do an accent in an audition. I've never not done an accent. It's just so fun. I love bombing auditions. It's really a pastime of mine.
Dude, I get voiceover auditions, and sometimes they send them to me, and I'm like, what are you trying to do right now? Because I got one that was like, it was like looking for a young urban. And I'm like, why did you even send it to me? Why?
We want to have this on tape just in case you make it.
Yeah.
So we can ruin your.
And it's
life.
like 2 lines, and I'm like, what are you expecting from me? I'm like, can we?
Wait,
can-
what was it
That's
for?
such a funny
I forget.
idea,
You're
though.
like, this is for Trident.
Yeah.
Imagine there's just a director who has a stockpiled amount of white actors doing black voice in commercials, just waiting to bring down Hollywood.
Yeah. And
Take a sip of motherfucking Listerine.
take a sip of it.
Swirl that shit.
I love a good
Spit it
knockoff
out.
brand mouthwash.
Like what? Like
Wegmans. I have Wegmans mouthwash right now. It seems legit.
That's yeah. If it works, right? All that matters is there's alcohol in it.
I like a Wegman. I don't like a supermarket, but I like a Wegmans because they have gluten-free dessert. A gluten-free dessert's big for me.
No kidding.
Yeah.
When did this happen?
A year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
What,
been
were you
fun,
shitting
man.
blood or?
No, but just like constant diarrhea.
Yeah.
Yeah, shitting blood. That would be a little more concerning. I have shit blood. I feel like you have to a time or two to really humble yourself.
Here's the thing. I was like, so I haven't drank in like 11 months.
Okay.
But
congrats.
but who knows if I'll ever drink again?
Yeah.
But the way I drank, like I was a big drinker and I prided myself on it.
Yeah.
And I never shit blood.
Really?
Yeah. Knock
Good
on
for
wood.
you.
I
Is that
suppose,
like a
but,
common thing of alcohol?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's like the move that happens to alcoholics when it's like time to scale
See,
back.
I drink a lot of White Claw. I feel like White Claw doesn't have shit blood in it. It doesn't have the
I
potency
feel
of
the
it.
exact opposite. I feel that shards up your ass lining.
I gotta be honest, the ruby grapefruit flavor does bad for my acid reflux.
yeah.
Crystallizes your sphincter. So
Yeah.
like,
I had to excuse myself from a moment that I was enjoying the other night with someone because I drank a ruby grapefruit White
Oh,
Claw
no.
too quickly, and I had to go buy Tums.
yeah, that
That's
makes
like
sense.
I'm 24 and this is just
I've
existence.
never
now.
had one. They weren't. I quit drinking before White Claw became the thing, so I wouldn't even know.
What were you boozing? What was your?
I would drink anything.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like I like shit that doesn't taste good. You know what I mean? Like I like a punishment element to. Same with I like black coffee because it tastes like shit.
Same, yeah.
You know, so it's like I like Jameson because I would do it and be like, I'm earning this right now. You know?
I am
Jaeger's
earning
my
the
killer,
way
dude.
I'm ruining my life.
yeah.
Jaeger's
But
the
I would
killer.
also like I had no. I mean, I can't. I don't think I could do Fireball anymore. Everyone,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
everyone has a night where they're just like, not even that I got too fucked up, but I was just like, it's just too much. Like I just can't.
That was
flavor.
SoCo for me because
Yeah.
SoCo was like that was around on college, well before Fireball. Like I drank 25 shots of SoCo for my 21st birthday, and then I went out and I had a triple of Goldschlager set on fire. Like I went to this bar where they have the special like 21 drink, and I'm like being propped up by my friends, you know, hustling me through this bar, and the guy's like, oh, he's 21. I'm like, it's my birthday. I like threw up on the floor, and the guy's like, all right, I guess we gotta give it to you. That's classic upstate New York. They don't call the cops; they just give you more alcohol.
Right.
So I go to the bar. And the first thing they do, they pour you this giant thing, and it's got that, you know, Goldschlager has those flecks of gold in it that like legitimately tear apart your esophagus, and it gets it in your bloodstream quicker. So he pours a triple, lights it on fire, and you have to blow it out as a birthday wish, and then take the shot. So I just blow the whole shot all over the bar. It's like a half fire for a second. The guy puts it out, and he's
ladies
like,
running around hair up.
like, Jesus Christ, dude. Be careful with this one. And then poured another one, set it on fire, and I just blew it out, took it, and then was just like a lifeless body.
Yeah, right. Because it's better to have you unconscious than to have you.
Yeah, I guess so. Dude, and then I woke up with puke all over my fresh laundry that I did for the first time in 4 months.
Oh, that's great. You're like, I'm never making that mistake again.
Yeah.
What, that many shots? No, doing laundry.
Yeah, before having
I've had like serious alcohol poisoning like 3 or 4 times in my life.
Really?
Most recently, my last tour. I got a second day of tour in Portland, Maine.
Oof.
There's a bar there called Lincoln's where they're
What'd
great
you do,
comedy
Empire?
night. No, it's a Laugh Shack. This was before Empire opened. Laugh Shack is a weekly show there at a bar called Lincoln's.
Nice.
It's a sandwich shop. You go down the stairs. There's a little fake therapist office.
Uh-huh.
You open a cabinet and it goes into a speakeasy. It's called Lincoln's because everything is $5. The merch, the food, the liquor.
That's
and then
killer.
they have like one of the best. Like you ever do Shaskeen in New Hampshire?
No, but I've heard of it.
So it's like that, except wherever that is, Portland, Maine. But
that's
that
great.
night we went out drinking hard. It was the second night of tour. I headlined Gotham the night before, so I was like, let me party this night.
Yeah.
And when I party, that means Everclear, Jaeger. I'm gonna do it all. And the worst part was my opener. The girl who was opening for me in the tour, Maggie, was talking to this real sleazeball of a dude, like greasy face, like just looked disgusting. And we were shitting on her for like flirting with this dude for like a few days. I black out. She has to help me throw up. She ends up not sleeping with the guy. He tried to hop in our Uber, go back with us. She's like, my friend's throwing up. You got to stay by yourself. Fast forward like 5 days. You know, I was completely blacked out the night. I'm looking on my phone. We're on the road. We're in the car together, and I see a video, and my camera rolls. So I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this? So we watch it together. It's a slow-mo video of me doing a shot of Jaeger with the guy Maggie was going to hook up with later in that night, being like, this is my boy. And I buy him a shot of Jaeger, and we take it on video together. And it was one of those moments where I just cried laughing because you witnessed it with your other 2 friends.
Oh, God. I thought you were going to say you were like doing a shot out of his belly button.
No. I was throwing up on the lawn of the Comfort Inn and Suites in Portland, Maine, and I'll never forget it because there was Maggie and Michael were videotaping me like good friends. But I'm off in the right throwing up. And then there's a woman just outside eating breakfast on like the nice lawn, watching me throw up. Doesn't break eye contact. I'm looking at her while vomiting, and she just refuses to stop looking at me. And I don't think I'll ever she had like a light green eye kind of like my own. I'll never forget them. She was just staring at me, and I'm like, ugh. It's like, do you not think I know what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Like I see it, I smell it. We're in this moment.
God, I can almost smell it.
And then I said I'm never gonna drink on the rest of this tour. And then 2 days later, I had a White Claw. Because I used to be a big Budweiser guy, and that's all gluten. So I was like, I could hold something and just drink it constantly.
Yeah.
We played White Claw Pong. Three cans on each side.
You got your basic white pitch on.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love being basic. I'm one of the most basic people I know.
It's fun. I mean, the
simple.
thing is, like, when people say, oh, it's cliche, it's like, yeah, it's cliche for a reason, right?
It's
good.
Yeah, it's the same thing as
It's like when
are
people say I'm the
gravitating
cliche
towards it.
stoner. I'm like, yeah, that's because it's doing what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
You mean I'm peaceful and
enjoying
like
it.
good music and happy all the time? It's working.
I remember like I was reading a shitty book one time, and I was embarrassed by it, and my friend was like, dude, it's a bestseller it's a New York Times bestseller. It was like a
Vinci
romance
Code?
novel or something like that. And just because
50
like
Shades?
yeah,
It was
I
Jeffrey
wish.
Gurian's last book.
Yeah.
But
he was like, it's a bestseller.
on the last episode.
Yeah, we did. It's a big Gurian day. So, dude, we went one time. It was after my freshman year of college. We went out and a bunch of my friends, and it was
Fordham,
like but it was a bunch of friends from like home. It was just a bunch of random people went out, and you ever play that game English people played? It's called God Save the Queen.
Yeah.
One of the rules is like if someone dunks, just drops like a coin because they have the queen on it or whatever into the beer, you have to chug it so she doesn't drown.
Right.
We didn't have any coins, so we were playing with Metro cards. If you just swiped someone's, you have to chug it.
Oh, and also
Grossest.
just thinking about what you've swiped that through.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember a Moose Ears game. Do you remember that? You would put a bowl in the middle, and everyone would pour their drinks, and then there was an ice cube tray leaning on it. And you had to bounce the quarter, and if it landed somewhere, you had to put up Moose Ears, and the last person had to drink the bowl.
Oh,
I remember that
I
game,
only played that once when I was playing ball. I was on like one of my official visits as a high schooler at a college, and they made me play that. And then the guy who was like my chaperone, you live with these guys, like you go there for 2 days, you stay in their place. He lost me that night.
Wow.
Like I had no idea where to stay. I was at St. Anselm's College in New Hampshire or
Jesus.
something like that. And the guy loses me. And luckily, the baseball locker room was open, so I slept on the couch of the locker room. And then the coach walked in because I had a practice next day, and he goes, "Well, it looks like you're not going to be coming here." And then I blew up my arm that day.
That's great. I wish this was my story, but my friend, he was a big partier. He's sober now, but he went to, I think he was going to visit Villanova. His dad had like set him up an interview with like the dean or something. It was like a whole big thing, and essentially, if he did fine, like he probably would have gotten in. So he takes the train there, and he's at a hotel room, and he's just got partying on his mind. So he's like, I'm gonna go out, and he just like meets some random freshman, and he blacks out, and he's like wakes up in the morning in like a communal lounge in this dorm, and he's like, I'm the fucking man. I went out with all these college kids, they loved me. And he goes into the bathroom to wash up. He's got like dicks and like, like someone drew like a swastika on his face,
no.
and he's trying to like scrub it out. And he's like, I can't go to the interview. So he like goes home, and his dad calls me. He's like, how's the interview? He's like, I don't know if it's a good fit, Dad.
They don't like anti-Semitic graffiti on my
Yeah,
skin.
they were weird about that.
I never had something drawn on me.
Me either. Thank God. I
trying
mean,
to-
dude, to
I
draw a
did
swastika
some
on
awful
someone is
stuff
so
in
shitty.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely sucks.
The worst thing I did in college, we had a dartboard in our freshman dorm room, which was a mistake. You shouldn't have like actual darts in a college dorm room.
Yeah.
I had to actually pay the college to repaint the room. Like I dropped out
yeah.
after 1 year, but I had to give them a couple $100s to repaint the door and the room, and we shattered one mirror. I think the first day my friend just threw a dart in the mirror.
I had to give thousands of dollars for my off-campus apartment because I left a fucking iron like the last day on the carpet.
Oh God!
Burned a hole right in the carpet. I also carefully picked off all my posters that had tack on them and stuff like that, so as not to ruin the painting on the wall or anything, because it was an off-campus thing, but kind of run by the college, so they're just notorious for like really upcharging people. And my I had one poster left. My dad was picking me up, and he walks into my room, and he's like, "Oh, you forgot this," and literally ripped off paint for like 4 by 8 feet on the wall, and I had to pay like $800 to repaint it or something crazy like that.
We didn't even try to hide. We literally, me and my roommate had posters that were hung up with darts. We just had the darts in the corners of the poster.
Yeah.
It was bad because my school, our freshman dorms, it was a bathroom and then 2 connecting rooms, and they put all the athletes. So it was 2 baseball players, our bathroom, 2 baseball players, and we were, 2 of them, I guess, were maybe using stuff to help them do better on the field.
Sure.
And I think tensions were behind. We developed a game where the freshmen, we had to keep the equipment, so we would just throw the actual baseballs through the bathroom door. And then it got to the point where we were just going into each other's room with bats and taking out pieces of the wall.
Oh God!
Like it was insane how quickly it just fell apart.
Yeah.
To just complete destruction.
Well, steroids and a kid having to be responsible for the first time in his life don't really
Not
match.
the time to try it.
Yeah.
That's
You'd actually
one
be better
drug.
off
I
in
never
high
did
school.
it.
I did.
I
Yeah.
never did the steroids. You know why? Because I had a
fun.
cousin, I think, who had a bad story with it, so it was easy for me not to.
I've heard
Yeah.
people say it's the greatest feeling in the world.
It's real good until you almost die. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty bad. But yeah, you feel like you're a walking human gun.
You feel like superhero. Yeah.
Walking gun.
It's like I am capable of anything right
I think
now.
I heard one story about a guy who took steroids and had testicular torsion, and I was like, I'm out. I don't want those being torsioned.
My liver almost shut down because I took the pills instead of
Yeah, they say you're
injecting.
better off
Oh,
injecting it, right? Doesn't
Yep.
have to go through the endocrine
Yeah,
system
yeah.
then.
I'll never forget the first time you see someone shooting a steroid. Like, your first thought is, like, it's immediate how quickly I went from, like, oh no, to this guy is so cool. I thought that's so cool. It was like a retro fitness down the shore in Jersey, which is just a walking. It's like just all steroids there.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And the guy is just in the locker room just doing it. And I'm like, all right, man.
Pretty
yeah,
badass.
And that's the same guy who go out there and yell. I loved yelling at the weights.
Oh, I used to be that animal with like smelling salts in my pockets and like just get
powder.
gear-
Like you have your own
oh,
powder
yeah.
with you to just
Doing it
powder
before
myself
curls.
up.
Just an animal. My friends have like me and my friends all did steroids.
I had
My
like
friend
I had
bled from his
Converses
nose.
for lifting.
Huh?
I had Converses for lifting
yeah,
and like
yeah.
my own powder
Yeah.
at the gym. I was
Yeah, of
such a
course.
dick. But it's so fun to be the dick at the gym.
You got to get into it. Otherwise,
There's a
it's
gym in
not.
Jersey called Apollon that when you walk in, it's like you have to put up certain numbers to be there. And like they have signs that are like, please do throw your weights. And like when I was actually still that strong, I love going there because like there was no one
Yeah.
cared.
No, it's
I
great.
love screaming in a gym.
Yeah, it's fun. I did this place Body Quest that's now shut down, but everybody called it Sauce Quest because every single person was on steroids.
Sauce
So
Quest.
everybody was screaming. It
Yeah.
was great. You know, the environment, I understand why it's hostile for a lot of people.
Oh,
but,
100%. I mean,
but
it's
yeah,
frightening,
it's
but
very
it
fun.
is how you're
But
going to
yeah,
get
it's like-
the biggest.
Yeah.
If
Although
that's-
working out stoned, I think, has been the best thing ever because you I don't know if it's just in your head, but you actually like feel the muscles.
Yeah.
Like when I'm curling now, I'm like, oh, I actually feel what I'm doing with the bicep. I feel where I'm tightening it up, how I could hold it a
Yeah.
little bit longer.
I also tend to go in double time because I'm afraid that I've been at the same thing for like 4 days. So I'm like, all right, I got to go fast. I give
Yeah.
myself like a 20-second
stoned
break.
running is my new. I mean, because I just don't stop.
Yeah.
I just go and I'm like, I think you're at a point where you're going to hurt later,
Right.
and then I do. But if for that time, you don't.
Oh, Nikki Glazer has that great joke where she's like, I run stoned, which I know sounds counterintuitive, but I always imagine somebody's chasing me.
That is funny. I had the thought the other day when I was running stoned. I said, I don't know who invented the first video game, but I assume they ran stoned one time. And then they were like, something was chasing me. Let me invent a video game. It feels so fun.
One-person shooter, yeah.
Yeah, like when I'm running, I just hear the sonic noises. Like, ding, ding, ding. That's all I'm hearing. I ran past the cop yesterday stoned, which is always interesting. Pulled off to the side of the road. And he gave me like that wave, like, how's it going? I was like, you're ruining someone's morning. I'm not going to wave back at you. This person just got a speeding ticket.
Endpoints.
Endpoints. I met a cop from my town at Zany's Nashville. I
Oh,
was
yeah?
ripping on a cop in the crowd. And then after the show, he goes, where are you from? And I was like, not from here. He's like, yeah, I could tell. He's like, where are you from? I'm like, I live in Manalapan, New Jersey. He goes, I'm a cop in Freehold, which is the town that my house is actually in.
Yeah.
And he's like, here's my Instagram. Anytime you get in trouble, just let me know.
Nice.
Which I feel like he should have given me his number. If I'm
Or a
getting
PBA
arrested and I'm
card.
like, hey, here's this Instagram.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
follow a
this
cop.
Yeah. I know this guy.
I'm
Guys,
scared. I have PBA cards. I don't use them. I get them from the deli because my dad.
Oh,
a lot
nice.
of cops give them to my dad.
Yeah.
I get too petrified. If a cop's like comes to my car, I'm too scared to give him a
No,
PBA
you do,
card.
dude. You put it right behind the license. You hand them together. I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it.
I put it
billion
between
times.
my cleavage.
Yeah, right.
And I hand it over.
Go ahead and
You
grab
just
it.
have your
Yeah.
dick out. It's on your dick. You're
Yeah.
like, what can we do about this?
Yeah.
It was
I'm fully
I got to see on Maggie when we were on the road. She told me she could drive, which I believed, and I guess she can in hindsight, maybe. But the first day she drove, she gets pulled over doing 90 and a 60 in New York or in Boston or some shit, and like to see the cop, like I thought maybe she was gonna get out of it. Like I'd never been in a car when a woman got a ticket, and I was like hopeful. This guy had no interest, but he found out we were comics because she told him, and he just kept going. He couldn't get it out of his head that we were stand-ups in a car together because he just kept going like, so you guys go on stage together, yeah? We're like, no, we're comics on the way to a show. He's like, yeah, but you're up there together because like you're traveling. Like, no, we each go up separately.
Dude, we're
It's
not
like,
a barbershop
he
quartet.
had he couldn't comprehend.
Yeah.
His name was, what the fuck? Oh, it was a Dugan maybe? Like
Yeah.
a classic cop last name.
Mick Cop.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
I live next to a cop. But
Teddy
not a cool
McCup.
one.
My entire family are cops.
I live next to a
Are you
douchey
Irish?
cop.
Yeah.
Me too. Same
My
thing.
Irish side of the family's all firemen.
You're in Schitt's Creek with a client list full of Mick Cops.
Yeah, my neighbor is the type of cop who named all of his kids after his name's Kevin.
Yeah.
And all of his kids' names start with a K.
Oh, good.
He's a Kardashian, yeah.
Yep.
I got pulled over one time. I must have been going. When you're like 17, you don't even consider the possible. You think like if I crash, it couldn't be that bad. You know, I'm
Right.
like driving so fast. I think I was going like 120 miles an hour.
Wow.
And just like this is
Jesus.
great.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know, you hit,
my whole life ahead
yeah, right. Then you- yeah.
Dead.
You would have to be fingerprinted after that crash. You know what
Oh
I
my
mean?
God.
Like to be
Yeah.
identified. So anyway, but the cop, I see a cop, I slam on the brakes and he pulls me over. He's like, you know how fast you were going? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, 85 miles an hour. And I was like, yes, I was.
I just remember the actual first time I ever was pulled over. It's an old story of mine, but was the first day I was drug dealing. I went to my buddy's place. Me and 2 friends went in on it. We picked up a bunch of weed. I didn't want to put it in the trunk for some reason, so I put it in the center console where my license registration were.
Why wouldn't you?
Ran a red light. Cop said license
I
registration.
think that's not to do in Biggie's.
It was literally like, yeah, it was. It's a lyric.
lyric.
Yeah. And he just comes up. He's like, license and registration. I'm like, no, I don't have it. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not gonna look for it, man. And then they got the. I forgot what happened, but they arrested us so quickly.
They just smelled.
Yeah, they
pound
got.
of
We
weed
were
in your
arrested. That
console.
was literally my first ever ticket. Was that?
That's
I'd
crazy.
never been pulled over before.
Yeah, I got pulled over doing like $1.25 on the Palisades Parkway once, and I was coming home from like my old high school's sectional soccer game or something like that, and I was just zipping like a brand new, license or whatever and car, and I'm flying down, and I get pulled. I see a cop. I see the cop pull out, and so I get off the exit and just like go in this town, and then I'm such an idiot, I just got back on the parkway and the cop saw me and just pulled me over, and he was like, why'd you get off the parkway? And I go, to get away from you.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
To him?
And he was like, what? He's like, wait. I'm like, I don't know, man. And he pulled me out of the car, and he's like, you were going over 100 miles per hour, right? And I'm like, all right. And he's like, do you know this guy? And he points to my friend sitting in the back seat, and I'm like, yeah, this is my best friend Jimmy. And he's like, well, I play softball with him for Bailey's Pub. He's like, that's
amazing.
why I'm gonna let you go. If I fucking see you speeding again, I'm gonna lock you up. Like, all that cop horseshit.
Softball got
Wait,
you.
Yeah.
Jimmy was in the backseat the
Just
whole
because
time?
my friend, he's like, hey, like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, just because
I
he
thought
was my
Jimmy was
buddy.
silent the whole time.
He was at first because he didn't like recognize him, I guess, and then he took off his hat.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh shit!"
That's great.
I would
Yeah.
love a friend to pull me over. I feel like I have enough friends who are cops, but the craziest thing is like every friend that I have that became a cop
Yeah.
is like every friend that I pictured not becoming a cop.
Dude, it's the weirdest
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Like,
It's like ones I was like, didn't we snort Adderall off a desk together in college?
I've openly mocked kids that are now cops in my town. One of which talked like a baby until we were in like high school. Like his mom had to come into school and be like, "Hey, like you can't talk to Brian when he's talking like a baby because it's a problem. Like it's perpetuating a problem. You can't even acknowledge him." Now that guy's a cop.
yeah.
And he got suspended early in his career for like waving his service revolver around in a fucking bar in my hometown. He got his gun taken away. He got, like suspended for a minute. And then now he's like chief of police or something like that in my town. So he's since rose up the ranks.
I guess he
talking like a
doesn't talk
baby.
like a baby anymore.
I don't know. Maybe.
Hi, Sagalo.
Hey, Branders.
Welcome to our podcast studio.
No, you're a good black backdrop. You actually make this look like a professional audition.
Yeah.
It's like a batter's eye.
That's great.
Welcome to our studio. All right. Yeah, I've always thought of like, what if we were to get robbed and the guy just came in and he's like pointing the gun at them and then he looks and he's like, "You guys podcasting?"
Yeah, he sits down. He's
Oh,
like, I
shit,
have
you'd
some
be a good
stories.
guest.
We
Come
take
over
him
here.
out with the mic. I think we
Oh yeah, you can chop him up.
Perfect.
anything. I feel like this has been a good episode.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wrapping
Been
it up
fun.
because my spine is ruined from sitting on these milk crates.
I also have to go and
I'm
do
wrapping
a
it up
spine.
because your ride is here.
Anything
Yeah.
you want to plug?
Wow, let's take two.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is coming out in December, yeah, maybe my new special is out. I just recorded it, but this is now 2 months post or 1
Yeah.
month.
It's
called
something.
Life Begins. Either way, listen to my podcast, Irish Goodbye Podcast. It's a storytelling podcast. Me and Mike Feeney talk this kind of shit as well.
Oh, yeah.
And and social media at I am Mike Cannon, all that stuff.
I'm at Dan Lamort. Oh wait, no. Oh yeah, I'm at Dan Lamort.
Yeah, you are.
Oof.
You were right.
I don't have anything to plug. I don't have any.
Yeah.
I guess I just added Colorado tour dates finally, but I'll plug those another time.
Yeah.
Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. You guys know me. It is what it is.
Yeah, I got nothing to plug. Just at Jack_Byram. You know what? Don't even follow. Here's the thing: if you were thinking about following me, follow Mike. I like him. I'm gonna follow him, and I recommend you do the same.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Can't follow
thanks.
both of us.
Thanks, guys. Bye.